Okay, what's up, man? Hotel. Let's do something real quick. Blatant lies that people in the Kemetic community tell. One of them, and the most major one that I'm going to be dealing with in a few videos, is they love to say that there were no real gods in Egypt, that all of the Neteru, all of the gods of Egypt represented higher principles. This a lie. They may represent a higher principle to people in 2021, but these beings were real to the ancient Egyptians. And I'm going to prove it. Look at this, family. This is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Now, real quick, the Egyptian Book of the Dead is made up of chapters in what on Google they will call spells to help an individual who has died make it into the afterlife. Now, you always hear people in the Kemetic community talk about the 42 laws of Mayat or the 42 negative confessions of Mayat. These come directly from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So they're always quoting the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Now watch this, family. The Egyptian Book of the Dead makes it clear that these Neteru are real. Just follow with me. I'm not going to be long, and I'm going to make my point. Watch this. Okay, this is in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I'm going to read it to you so you can see it for yourself, and I'm going to make it make sense. Watch this. Was found this chapter in Hermopolis under a slab of iron of the south, inscribed with lapis lazuli, real under the 2 feet of the majesty of God this in the time of the majesty of the king of the north and south, Menkaure, by the royal son Heru Tata Elf triumphant. He found it in his journeying to make an inspection in the temples, was strength with him to make him diligent in understanding it. He brought it as a marvelous thing to the king, when he saw that a mystery it was great, unseen and unbeheld, shall be recited this by a person purified and washed, one who hath not eaten animal flesh or fish. Behold, thou shalt make a scarab of green stone with its rim plated with gold. Sorry about that. With this rim plated with gold and placed within the heart of a person. It will perform for him the opening of the mouth, anointed with unguent. Now pay attention to that opening of the mouth. They love talking about that as well. Now, basically what this is telling you, look at this, family. Look what it's telling you. I know you may not understand a lot of that, but look at this. Okay, you see how he says was found chapter this? He's saying that this chapter of the Egyptian Book of the Dead was found in the reign of Pharaoh Menkaure by his son. Okay, and then his son, he found it while he was journeying to make an inspection in the temples. And he say that with strength and diligency, he worked about to understand it, to try to translate it. So what they're talking about is they're claiming that this particular chapter of the Book of the Dead was found in a temple during the reign of Menkaure. And they say that it was written. This was written by the god Tahuti, or the god Thoth himself. That's what they're telling you. Because the first Book of the Dead supposedly was written for Osiris or Asar. Okay? So the Book of the Dead, there would be no Book of the Dead if a Book of the Dead was not written for Asar. Right? And they're saying that this chapter, they're openly admitting that they found this chapter and it was written by the god Tahuti himself, and they diligently translated it, and now they placed it inside of the Book of the Dead. And look what this chapter says. Saith Thoth, that's Tahuti, the righteous. Okay, so look, saith Thoth, the righteous judge of the cycle of the great gods who are in the presence of. Why is it saying that? Because they're claiming that this was written by Tahuti, this was written by Thoth for Osiris. Look, saith Thoth, the righteous judge of the cycle of the gods great, who are in the presence of Osiris or Asar. Hear ye decision this. In very truth is weighed the heart of Osiris is his soul standing as a witness for him. His sentence is right upon the scales great, not had been found wickedness in him any, not had he wasted food offerings in the temples, not had he done harm indeed, not had he let go with his mouth evil things whilst he was upon earth. So what this particular chapter so so what this particular chapter is telling us is that, for one, Asar was on the earth. Asar died. The first book of the dead was written by Tahuti for Asar. And they're actually claiming in this particular copy of the Book of the Dead, because every Book of the Dead isn't exactly the same, what they're claiming is that someone during the reign of Menkare, Pharaoh Menkare, his son was inspecting the temples and he found a slab of iron that was written in the finger of the god Thoth, or the god Tahuti himself. So the Egyptians are saying that they have the Book of the Dead because Tahuti wrote a Book of the Dead for Osiris or Asar. Okay, and so the individuals that have books of the dead that came after that, they are copying chapters that Tahuti wrote for Asar. And you see how it said, look, he had let go with his mouth evil things whilst he was upon earth. So what they're telling you is Asar was upon the earth. Tahuti was upon the earth. And when Asar died, Tahuti wrote this Book of the Dead for him. And they translated it, they copied it out, and they began to write it for themselves. Look, saith the same thing. Saith the cycle of the great gods to Thoth, dwelling in Hermopolis. Decreed is it that which cometh forth from thy mouth. True and righteous is Osiris, the scribe Ani triumphant. Not had he sinned, not had he done evil in respect of us. So basically what they're saying is this Book of the Dead was written for Ani. And so now Ani is Osiris or Asar Ani, because he is following the path laid out by Asar. And the way that it was decreed by Tahuti that Asar was sinless, that he had no sin in him while he was upon the earth, they're now saying that Ani, now that he has this chapter written and recited over him, he had no sin found in him while he was upon the earth. So what the Egyptians were saying is they were trying to live like Asar lived while Asar was upon the earth. So these guys are quoting the Book of the Dead, and while they're quoting the Book of the Dead, according to the Book of the Dead, according to the Egyptians, was written by one of the Neteru for one of the Neteru. Okay, and then they want to backdoor and they want to tell you that, oh, wait a minute, Tahuti wasn't real, Asar wasn't real. So, okay, in the Book of the Dead that you quote, you're saying that the Egyptians were lying. Whoever said that, oh, during the time of Pharaoh Menkare, we found this slab, it was written by the finger, it was written in the writing of the god Tahuti or the god Thoth himself, you're saying that the Egyptians was a goddamn lie. And if you want to say that the Egyptians were a goddamn lie, that's fine. But what the people got to understand is the Egyptians absolutely believed that these beings were real beings. Yes, they may have had some type of higher science associated with them. That's true. That's true. But you see it clearly here. They always quote the Book of the Dead because they always quote those 42 laws of Ma'at. The 42 laws of Ma'at are found in the Book of the Dead. There would be no 42 laws of Ma'at if those 42 laws of Ma'at were not written for Osiris. Okay, so the only reason why the Egyptians were quoting that in their own Book of the Dead because they were trying to be like Osiris. And the original 42 laws of Ma'at were written for Osiris. That's what the Egyptians were saying. What the 42 laws of Ma'at written for atoms, quarks, and quasars? Higher spiritual teachings? Wisdom and understanding? Okay, while wisdom and understanding was on the earth in the form of Asar, wisdom and understanding in the form of Tahuti or Thoth wrote the Book of the Dead for him. That's madness. Madness. The Egyptians absolutely believed that these beings were real. Anybody that tell you anything different, they're lying. And if they quote the Book of the Dead, they're actually admitting in their quoting one of two things. Either they're admitting that the Egyptians believed that these Neteru were real because the Book of the Dead came from the Neteru according to the Egyptians, or they're saying that the Egyptians were a goddamn lie about the afterlife. They were a goddamn lie about the afterlife. And if they were a goddamn lie about the afterlife, then you have more problems because you're teaching this stuff like it's real and you're acting like these 42 laws of Ma'at actually have some type of relevance with the afterlife. And if they have some type of relevance with the afterlife, then you're saying that the people who wrote it were honest and upright in what they were documenting. And these people said that the first 42 laws of Mayat and the first book of the dead, the chapters of the book of the dead, was written by one of the Neteru for another Neteru, and the Egyptians were just copying what they found. So did they lie about what they found? Did they lie about where the origins of the book of the dead was from? Is the origins of the book of the dead a lie? If the origins of the book of the dead is a lie, then you got a problem. And if it's not a lie, then the Egyptians were saying that the Neteru were real. Blatant lies that the Kemetic community tell the Neteru were not real. Blatant lies. We're going to keep exposing them, family. And I call myself Ampu. You know, so, hey, but I just want to give it to you guys straight. I just want to give it to you guys real. Hotep, I'm going to be back with some more information, some more powerful information. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, family. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if anybody tell you that the Neteru wasn't real, bang them over their head with this video. Bang them over their head with this video. Ask them, what did the 42, if somebody quote the 42 laws of Mayat, ask them, where did the 42 laws of Mayat come from? Oh, we get that out of the Per Imheru, the book of the dead. Okay, where did the first Per Imheru come from? Oh, Ani. Wait a minute. No, in the Papyrus of Ani, that's not the first Egyptian book of the dead, because in the Papyrus of Ani, the Per Imheru, they say that they got some of these chapters were found in the temple, written by the finger of the god Thought Tahuti himself. Dead. Like, share, and subscribe. Hotep, I'm Pooh out. I'm going to be back with some more hard-hitting information, blatant lies that the Kemetic community tell, making us all look bad. The Egyptians taught that the Neteru were real. Get off the goddamn gas.